So let me just cancel that and we'll start again. So let's go into Azure Machine Learning. Let's go down to the data labeling exercise, and we'll give our project a name. So JR label for fruit. And we'll use this classification multi-class. So we'll just use apples and bananas, I think, just to save the time in the labeling. And when you do this, it's actually quite interesting. You can go and label that, and then you can get other people to check your labeling as well. So next stage is if you wanted to add a workforce there to actually crowdsource it, the labeling activity, and then you go in here and I can see that I have JR images already there. So earlier, all I really did was come back into, say, data, just open that up in a separate section, and was able to basically create this JR images here. And that is a data source I just created from scratch, and you can go in and preview the data there as well. So you can see I'm not getting any errors on that screen. So that's actually, oh, sorry, pardon me, that's the data asset itself. The data store is actually this JR2 version. So all I went in there was go and create a new data store, choose it from the blob storage, but just to save any of the security headaches, I don't store the credentials. That was the main difference that I did with this one. And then I granted access to Azure Machine Learning to the storage account as well by creating a managed ID for this, and then going into IAM for example, the storage account. So if I go over here and go to the storage account, oops, sorry about the noise here, cat's going off a bit. Husband's trying to calm it down. So you go into JR OpenAI storage, which is where that's coming from, and you go into IAM and add a role assignment there for the Azure Machine Learning workspace. So that's all I really needed to do. And to do that, the access that I granted was actually this one here, which is storage blob data contributor, allows read, write, and delete access. So that's all we really needed to add. So once you have that, you can then add members to that, and the members were going to be basically the Azure Machine Learning entity itself. So I gave it an entity ID, so you can see you've got lots of different users there as well. So you choose this option, which is Manage Identity, and then select there, and then you can go and select, for example, all the ones that I have. And I happen to have this Azure Machine Learning one there, so that's where I gave access to that already. So that's all I had to do to get around that security issue. It took me ages to work out what was going on, and then go and create the data source in the here. So that's all you really need to do. So back to the project, we go and, because I've already created that folder, I'm just going to reuse that and say next. And then this one's talking about incremental refreshes if you're adding new data to it. The next step, so I'm just hitting next up there, the next step is actually to start to go create the labels. So we will start to create by saying Apple, and of course you can have sub-labels as well. So I could go and create labels under that, but I'm just going to stick with the two high-level ones, which is Apple and Banana, and then I'm going to hit next. This is if you were giving other people instructions on the labelling techniques. We don't have any for this, so let's continue on. And then we can allow consensus labeling, so that allows a second pair of eyes to actually go through that. That was a bit silly. And what I'll do is I'm going to open that up and have a look what I've got compute. Now, hopefully, yes, I have stopped that. So takes just a couple of minutes. So when you're using, give you a little bit of background around Azure Machine Learning there. So when you're using compute, what you can do is create an instance of a compute. This one's just DS11v2. It's only like 18 to 20 cents per hour. While that's up, it's charging you money, so that's why I have that shut down at the moment. If you wanted to do some sort of clustering technique to run something in parallel processing, things like AutoML, Designer, and if you've got any models that you're creating that actually can be represented by, say, for loop, there's usually an opportunity for you to spread that workload across multiple nodes. In this case, we're not going to use that. We're just going to use the straight computing. But we could have also gone for Kubernetes, attached Spark clusters here, or we could go for a serverless option there as well. All right, so just waiting for that to start. And if you're interested in some of the other ones, AutoML might be another useful one. So you don't necessarily have to dive straight into using AI vision. You could come over here, load up your data into a ML table that we've just looked at, the labeling data, and then you could go and use the vision option, computer vision option of automated machine learning. So there's 5 different options that you can use with automated machine learning. So just waiting for that to start. It does take about 3 minutes to start. It does feel like forever. Let's continue on. Let's see whether it'll let us continue on. So create the project, and then we're going to maybe insufficient quota GPU. Oh, okay. That is a different problem. So let's go back, and I'm going to come into compute again. And this time I'm going to choose a GPU. So let's go and start up a GPU. So that was unexpected. So JR2 GPU, we'll call it, and get a GPU. Now the only way I can get access to a GPU in my current profile is, and my subscription, is to use a non-dedicated version. So what I need to be able to do is, let's see if I can do that. Don't seem to have enough views. Don't seem to have enough there. That's very vexing. Let's go back here and ooh, dead in the water again. Thought that was really going to work. So compute instance. Let's go back. Okay, let's see whether I can. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm dead in the water then. They're taking all my GPUs away now. I didn't know I was going to hit that issue. Select from all options, select from the recommended options. Oh, that's no good.
Sorry, I didn't pay enough attention. What was the issue?
I can't use a GPU.
Can't use GPU, but it's not available?
Yeah, not available. So I don't have any GPUs available. Let's have a look at the low cost option. So there are calls all available there. Request quota, that's going to take a while. So new core limit 2 should be greater than 300. Oh, okay. 300. Submit. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it. So let's see what happens here. So in the old days, in Azure Machine Learning, you used to be able to provision a non-dedicated low priority example, but it looks like you now have to submit that to a help desk to get the access for that. So I won't be able to complete the demo. So very disappointing. We had that storage issue before. Now I'm getting a quota issue. So it's a bit of a shame. See if I can just going to go in here again. It's
Jane,
going to, yeah,
this will be a real life scenario of budgeting issues.
yeah.
So, yeah. So is the quota set by whenever the resource is set up by the resource owner? Is that how it works?
No, they've put a policy on our subscription, so I own this subscription and they've put restrictions on there. So with all the use that we've been having with OpenAI, they've put a restriction on which GPUs we can use. Now, we always had a restriction on GPUs. I couldn't use any of these ones, but I used to be able to use non-dedicated ones, and they've even blocked that now. So it doesn't look like so they're getting a bit serious about cutting back on things like that. If the customers need it, they're directing them all towards the customers, so I can't actually demo that. That's a really disappointing outcome.
But no, this is a good demo of policy. How policy can control costs. So that's nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. Thank you.
I could probably try and go for an attached compute if I was to go and create one in Spark, but I'm not even 100% sure that that's going to work, especially because it's not going to necessarily provision a GPU anyway. It's going to provision a CPU related one. So I could possibly go and try a cluster. And there you go, there's a low priority machine. So let's try this at least, a DS11. Actually select it from here, go for GPU. I can put in a cluster, so that's interesting. Let's try that. So I've got low priority GPU, and I can choose any of these ones here. So I'll choose the one there that's around 20 cents an hour. I'm usually quite self-conscious of that sort of spending anyway. And we'll call that JRCC. So let's create that. Maybe we've got approve. So that's the JRCC GPU. So I can provision a cluster, I just can't provision an instance. I think it needs an instance though, so let's see if we can do it. Compute targets, there you go. So I'm going to choose the GPU. All right, all is not lost. Being negative there, wasn't I? Confidence score for pre-labeling. Just leave that as is. So there you go. I got around it by putting in a cluster. It was very unexpected. So then we can go in here. It's ready for labeling now. So I'm going to go in and start labeling. If it ever stops spinning. Oh, phew. That was a bit of a risky thing there. All right, so let's go to label data. We always get hamstrung by something, don't we? Something's not quite working. We have our apple and our banana there, and now we're going to go and do our images. Whoop, say that last minute. So here we can see an apple. So I'm going to choose that as an apple. Banana. Okay, I didn't do all three, otherwise it takes forever. You can make some mistakes in there, and I'll call that a banana, and then the next person can actually fix it, which is me again. Banana. Quite relaxing. And of course you could upload this as well if you wanted to update the Cocoa file yourself manually. You could have done that instead. But this isn't such a bad process because it gets other people involved. Maybe this is the way of the future, labelling. This is our career prospect for the future once AI, which is going to be its slave and label everything.
This is supporting AI, really.
Supporting AI. We love AI, don't we? Like anything.
The current AI, paradigm doesn't matter if it's logic based or statistic based. It doesn't have a world model. It doesn't. It's not like a human baby is growing up with interaction of the real world and understanding what a mountain look like and feel like and means. And it's just, if you're looking at large language model, it's just purely text.
Yeah.
It doesn't have all the other dimensions of appreciation of the object physically, and we can touch and feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's dangerous because it doesn't have the human appreciation of values.
Yeah.
It's just
true.
work. To them, it's just work.
It's just work. It's just done. Yeah. So why is this now saying that I haven't labelled everything? Oh, because I've got to complete the label, I think. So at this point now, go to the data, go to review labels, and I'll fix that one that's okay, that was unexpected. I shouldn't be doing that. Did I miss something? No, I didn't miss anything. So again, we're stopped dead in the water. What's happening? So we haven't got consensus because I haven't labelled all the data yet. So it's got the preview there, but not letting me do that. So usually I should be able to go through here and approve or reject. So something's still not working with that. Jeez, layers of problems. This should have worked. Details, data sets, incremental refresh, export, apples and bananas. Okay, so this is really annoying me at the moment. And if we go out back in, it's very annoying. Start labeling, that's right. Well, at this point, usually what you would do is you would go in and approve each image, but it's still having issues there. So that is very annoying. You'll be able to see the data as well. Resume labeling, nothing's happening. Dead in the water, that's the second time.
Maybe your computer is terminated.
So the computer's, oh geez, look, even this computer's having a hard time starting. Your computer needs to be authenticated before you can mount it. Please use authenticate button. That's not exactly what I needed though. Maybe it is using a blend of compute and the cluster as well. So they're all up and running. They're okay. You've got 2 provisions or unprovisioned as you read it. Let's just see if this guy starts up. Maybe it does need regular compute as well. Oh, that's churning away on that one. So let's go for something a little bit faster as well. So DS11, we'll go to DS12 will do. Let's double the speed, I suppose. View and create. So that's all about getting it to basically start up or shut down at various times. If they're tinkering with other security things that we're not aware of yet. Back to labeling project. It's not coming up with any labelled as. Oh, there you go. There's 16 apples, 14 apples and 16 bananas. Label is me. Training experiment not started, but we can't actually start that until we approve the labels. Let's start up a new one here. And project. One more go. JR label 2. Next. And this time I am not going to do incremental refresh, definitely not. Apple. And next. And I'll leave consensus labeling off this time. Use custom, go and choose the GPU. Yeah, it's probably just the same anyway with that one. Let's try that one again, and this time we're not going to get anyone to double check. One more go and then we'll call it a day on the demo. Label the data. To watch me do this again. Submit. Submit. Move this around. Usually I get people to review it, but it worked before. It's just not working today. There's probably an easier way to use keystrokes here too, but anyway. Should make the screen smaller so I've got less area to traverse. Right, okay, so label data. Well, actually it says 30 out of 30, so that's good to see. Ah, much better. All right, so let's go down and we'll start doing the training now. So let's see what we've got. Settings, insights, data. It's even now letting me do review, so let's do that as well. Approve. I'll just approve them all because I know I did them right. So it's still getting the 4i approach, but it was a different type of review. So, okay, so let's have a look at the dashboard. We've now reviewed everything. We've done everything. So now we should be able to start training. Data. Oh, okay, we're not going to be doing training, of course. We're only doing a labelling exercise. So what we do at this point, otherwise I could bring that into ML table and start training it here with your automated ML. But we're only doing a labelling activity. So that next step is now to export that, and we can have the label as information, and we're going to create a COCO file. So that was the aim of the exercise anyway. And then we'll call that fruit labelled by Jane and Jane. So let's hit the submit, and now that we have that, we can basically go down and download that file, and then we can use that COCO file in our AI vision. So that's all that we needed to do. We only needed to just do the labelling exercise. So there you go, we got there in the end, but it was very slow. All right, so that's how you do it.
I was holding back on one question of giving you here in Machine Learning Studio. Jen, the environments, right, and in the assets. So over there are plenty of curated environments. But I don't see any options available for me to directly use them. If you look at, for example, like the one you were looking for GPU, there are already some QDOT, right? So TensorFlow, those are very heavy lifting stuff, but there are GPU optimized environments, like ML GPU. What options do you have?
How do you use them?
Exactly.
So, and you can create your own custom environments too. But it's not like a VM that you're setting up that you're then going to use. You're actually just setting up an environment. So similar to the days when you used to have Conda environments, you go and create a Conda environment. You can also use Docker containers to do it as well. You can have a requirements text with all of the Conda installs and the pip installs. Or you can have a Docker container. Once you have that, you just use it as part of your, you just use that as part of your process of doing machine learning now. So it's just for consistency, because we know with open source, certain things don't work well with other things.
Especially
particular Python version of this with the version of NumPy, whatever it is. So then you go over to the notebook section, and if you have a compute started up, I remember I was having trouble with that compute, you can go and clone some things in here. So you can go and clone, they've got samples actually, so let's have a look at the samples. So this is using SDK2. Go in here and, for example, just data wrangling. I can go into a Jupyter Notebook, and then if I have a command in here, let's see if I have a command. No, I don't have a command there. Let's see if I can find another one. Responsible AI maybe, ML flow, diabetes regression, look at the training. It's a Parquet file, that's okay. They've got some good examples in here. The ML flow deployment environment. So let's have a look. It's done the compute environment. So you would set up an environment in here, and then you would use it. So as part of the command prompt, and if I can't find an example that easily in here, as part of the command prompt, you will pass.
I got you. So the environment manual is really just a reference. And we need to, pretty much in the code, we just reference that particular environment we want to use, and then we don't have to do all the pip install stuff. That's all.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly right. So I was just trying to find your command prompt. I haven't found one yet, so I was hoping to see one here. So when you send a command, the best practice is to, they're setting up a compute, for example. The best practice is when you've got a compute set up, maybe you're doing something like AutoML, you can call that from here as well. You would pass it the environment that you want to use, the compute that you want to use, the file, any of the hyperparameters, use a sweep job for that. So I haven't been able to find the command job in here, but that was the best practice.
That's all right. As long as I understand why it was there and how it should be used, and that's good, because in the environment there's no operations you can do directly in the environment, on each environment. So it's like a library.
This is an asset. Just an asset or just a resource that you can use as part of when you're going to run that. It will run it with all those things installed already.
Okay. Cool.
If you want to catch any of them too, I suppose you can also do, you can go in there and you can grab a download of them. Although I'm not seeing that in here, but...
No, they're ellipse, 3 dots, but there's nothing. No further operation you can have, right?
No.
It's only a tag.
Right? It's only the tag,
That's right. That's what I mean. It looks like just a catalog with no further operational actions you can have. Except for just copy the name and then reference it in your notebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do the same sort of thing in Designer. If you're going to be using Designer, you can define the environment as well and drag.
That was the place I was more familiar with when I was doing the data scientist certificates. Was about 2 or 3 years back. So
that's a while.
And then now it's a lot of notebooks. But notebooks, I'm more familiar with Databricks side of notebooks. But anyway, it's all
they're almost the same. One's proprietary, one's just open source, but they're almost the same.
It's just how these different libraries and components and compute and they are being managed in Azure ML, different from Databricks.
Yes, the environment's very different. You'd normally just have that the cluster with all the pip installs and conda installs in that environment.
Yeah, that's right. And because of our customer sort of preference in the past 12, 24 months, we mostly were working on Databricks implementations instead of Azure ML, and so that's why I'm sort of lagged behind with ML. And I was doing this Matchbox classifications to start with, and that was old ML stuff and auto ML to do some benchmarking. But then when you come back after 6 months, the interface changed, like
It used to only be a couple of things in here, and now it's out of control.
Yeah, and then now I look into it, it's actually OpenAI. I said, I give up, and I'll go back to OpenAI model because people are asking for a RAG. I'm not going to do that in ML. But now, with your sessions, I think it definitely helps me to navigate through all these changes in terms of the UI and IDE and where to do what, right? And this is to me now, it's more like a combination. The ML studio is like a combination of Databricks plus OpenAI plus AI plus the classic ML.
Yeah, it's everything to everybody. I still don't think that prompt flow one was going to work because there was a different security setting I had to do for that one as well. So we can try that one again, seeing as we do have time, but I have a feeling it's going to fail again. So I wanted to show people prompt flow, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. So remember I was having some problems with security with this one as well. Yep, there you go.
Please work. That's what we do. Pray 12 times before any time. Please work. With 2 fingers crossed.
I really wish that I had have had my old one just sitting there, which I went and obliterated my environment a few weeks ago because I thought, I'm having trouble with it. Let's just delete it. I really wish I hadn't because it actually had examples of prompt flow in there. So the security issue I'm facing there is interesting. You might have this sort of issue as well, depending on what your policies are at work. But with this one, it cannot write to the shared drive. And that's the problem it's having right now. So if you go into notebooks, for example, you go into notebooks there and come over to files, for example. I haven't got a compute up and running, but you would see that it's using the internal storage. And because I haven't given
it's a
specific access.
It's actually the file system behind that image or OS.
Yeah. So I suppose, go on. What were you going to say?
I was saying that's very similar to Databricks, where I have DBFS, Databricks file system.
Yeah.
And it's now recommended by Databricks to not use that one because as I said, it's actually a local drive of that particular compute. But here, I don't know how much control I have.
Yeah, so usually you would not use it for anything else, but you can use it for this. So I was going to go in there and just try and set it up now, but I have a feeling if I give the access there and I go and select the members for the managed identity, it's just really, really strange that you would need to do this as a concept because it is part of the machine learning environment. So to then have to go and give specific access to itself is just really, really bizarre. So
that's right. If you provision a workspace, all the resources needed for that workspace should be default to have no connectivity issues, right? So that's what provision deployment is about. But I think what's happening now is, there are so many teams at Microsoft Engineering trying to build things using the common infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's where they step on each other's toes.
Yes, but this is obviously, they've hit it with a hammer with the security, because there's no way that should have failed. It does not make any sense. So we could actually try prompt flow from AI Studio as well. And that could be worth a go in your own environment. I'm having too many problems with security. All right, I think that's it for the day on the actual theory and the demos. Did you want to do that lab now, or do you want to go delve into the certification and then leave the lab for the last thing for the day, and then I can support you while you're doing that, if you like? So do people want to go and look at the cert now? Or?
I don't know about others. Honestly, I think that the cert is more interesting than the labs. And labs you can always do when the kids are falling asleep, right? So midnight labs, and so yeah, I would vote to have you again and just talk through some of our let's say steps to prepare for the certificate.
Yes, okay.
Because the lab's always there.
Yeah.
Last one on that.
Yeah, the second one.
Last one, yeah.
All right, cool. And you can do the lab this afternoon while I'm still here anyway. We'll probably get that all done in time. So it doesn't take very long to do the conclusion of this.
I have finished all the labs in.
Oh, you finished, yeah. Oh, good work, good work.
But I need to do redo again to memorize again. So
Oh, yeah.
practice. A couple of more.
Yeah, I will always do the labs twice before doing an exam. But I suppose the good thing about the exam is I'm just going to check to see if I've got all the content there. I haven't got all the